Hi and welcome from Araali Networks. Today I wanted to give a quick demo of how Araali covers apps running with Istio. So for the comparison, I have an app called Voting App which is running with Istio and without Istio. First we'll go into the namespace where the app is running without Istio. Here you can see that this app is made up of 3 pods. There is Voting Analytics, there is Voting App, and there is Voting Storage or the database. And if I expand it back, you can see essentially each of these 2 containers is talking to the database containers. And we also see that this container is also going to an external DNS, registry.npmjs.org. So this is essentially the architecture diagram for the Voting App. Now we'll go into another namespace where the same app is running with Istio. The first thing that we notice is that in this setup we have the same number of pods. So we have 3 pods that we saw previously. So you have the Voting Analytics, you have Voting App, and you have the Voting Storage, which is the database. The only difference is that earlier on we had 1 container per pod. Now we have the original container, but in addition to that, you can see the Istio sidecar. And with Istio sidecar proxy, you can see there are 2 containers. There is pilot agent and there is envoy proxy. Again, the interesting thing we notice here is that there is a connection going from your original container through the envoy proxy, and then the proxies talk to each other. We can quickly highlight to show that. So first I'll show the connection between the pod and envoy. So here you can see the envoy is talking to the Redis database. Here the container is talking to envoy proxy, and here again the analytics container is talking to envoy proxy. So I'll accept it and make it green. The next set of items that we want to highlight is envoy proxy talks to a pilot agent, so I'll highlight that. So this is pretty consistent. You have your pilot agent and envoy proxy talking to each other. Similarly, you see it here, and I like it. I'll accept it. So I've converted it into policy, or I've made it green. The next thing we see is that the envoy proxies talk to each other. So you can see this envoy proxy is talking to this, and then this envoy proxy is talking to this. If you remember the original diagram, you had both the containers talking to the database. You see exactly the same thing happening here. Both the envoy proxy, which are attached to the containers, are talking to the envoy proxy, which is attached to the database. So I like it. I accept it and make it into green. So now we have accepted all the inter app communication. The other thing to notice is that there are some egress connections going out here as well. The first one is metadata service. We are seeing that pilot is talking to metadata service. If you're fine with them talking to metadata service, you can accept its policy, or if you don't want, you can just snooze it. So I'll snooze it just to show you that function. The other thing that we see is the pilot agent talking to pilot discovery. This is pretty common, so I like it. I'll accept and make it green. The other interesting thing to understand is these are connections which you will find in all the envoy proxy. So whatever envoy proxy you're running, it will always be talking to discovery. So in a way, these are CAN policy or something that can be pre-discovered. And that's something that Araali does out of the box. We call it meta policy. So we can have meta policies for envoy. Once you run meta policies, these well-known connection will automatically turn green. You don't have to convert or select and do it manually. We'll do it out of the box for you. So what I just did was I selected Prometheus. I know Prometheus talk to pilot agent. I converted into policy. Similarly, I'm good. Kubelet talks to envoy, so I like it. I convert it into policy. So I think that's it. We have verified all the different connections and show you how when Envoy proxy comes into the mix, data flows. There is one thing that I did not check, which is this connection. If you remember, in the original app which was running without Envoy, we had the container going to this egress site. So you see that again. I'm fine, so I'll accept it and I'll convert it to green. So we have combed through the full app, and we have shown how data flows once Envoy gets introduced into the mix, and how Araali is able to clearly articulate and draw a network diagram even if your app is running with Envoy proxy. Thank you.